It's good to see everybody. Very excited about today. The back together weekend is always feels like the real kickoff to training camp. I know you great folks have been here. We've been working for 4 or 5 days, but this does feel like the official start to training camp. We'll come back after today. We'll have a day off tomorrow, and then we'll put the pads on. So football feels like it's here. We are off to a really good start as a football team. I've really enjoyed watching kind of the early parts of our installs come to life. Even, it's not always as sharp as you want it early on, but the way we handle the spring normally leads into some pretty sharp moments. Defense has been really good. I think the offense, specifically the first group, without having that full group in there, there's been some real moments, and I love the way JJ is running the show with Ryan Kelly and that group. The communication's been really good. So as we get into pads, I'm going to look forward to seeing how many people can translate their good starts into a consistent training camp performance when it's the physicality comes into play a little bit more than it has. But best fans in the world showing up today. Can't wait to see them. Should be a beautiful day out here. In addition to that, very excited to highlight and point out to you, Josh Metellus has agreed to a contract extension. Multi-year captain since I've been here, such a vital part of our success on and off the field. It's hard to imagine them making him any better as a player in person than Josh Metellus, what he means to me personally, our friendship, our bond we formed. Absolutely thrilled for Josh, his family, and Vikings fans that they get to see him for years to come in a role that's really become really special to him and how he's attacked it and helped us become what we are defensively.
Back in practice for Josh today?
He actually will not. He's right in the final stages. Should be. We wanted to give him today and then tomorrow to let that thing totally die down. I know the immediate expectation was whatever was going on there should be over now. We were not. We were being honest when we tried to tell you guys that. I know there were some chuckles and laughs and things, but he needs another day or so. But he'll be ready to roll. Put the pads on Monday, and away we go. He did just take part in the walkthrough, though.
You mentioned Josh's role, with Cam Bynum leaving, and there's that spot that's there. Like, do you think that anything fundamentally changes with the way he'll be deployed this year as a result of just having different guys now?
Well, I think the starting point to his role is versatility, which, depending on the snap, first down, second down, third down, what personnel flow has us in, he could line up. Really, I think at one point last year I counted in one game he lined up in 7 different spots. So I think his role is wildly dynamic, but he's proven to be able to handle the deep part of the field, play man-to-man coverage on some tight ends and slots. We play big nickel with 5 DBs out there with 3 safeties. We're excited about where Theo's at as well and the rest of our safeties. So I think having Harrison and Josh both back, although that combination with Cam a year ago was really big for our defense. We feel good about Theo in that deep part of the field role, but as you guys have seen, it's such a wildly kind of flexible defense that you can be really in any spot at any time, and you got to go play. And the communication's the biggest thing, especially at home when we get in the noise. Like, we love playing at home because of the noise, but that can stress a lot. And I think Josh is right up there with Harrison Smith as far as the guys that communicate at such a world-class level that all 11 can be on the same page when the ball snaps.
What is the discovery process of realizing he can handle that much bandwidth?
Well, I think it's just been throughout, Flo's time here and how they've continued to layer upon layer things in the defense based upon his roles, and which are inside the box as a linebacker type. He can be a down safety. He can play big nickel. He can play man-to-man coverage at all 5 spots, whether it's a really good back. We've put him on, the Christian McCaffreys of the world. We've put him on dynamic tight ends, bigger slot receivers, and allows our corners to stay matched and then also hold a lot of the disguise that we want to show as well. So I think a lot of it's there. Obviously he played a really high snap count a year ago, as versatile as he was, and we got to be aware of our depth going into the season to make sure we can keep our guys fresh, because we're going to want to have our guys out there all the time. But that's also something that I've got to be aware of, flow, making sure we've got some guys that can step in and also play in those spots.
What do you appreciate about Josh in terms of what he brings to the organization beyond what he does on the field?
Yeah, I think, every it seems like every community event, every chance to, connect with the Twin Cities and, the hearts and souls of all people matter to Josh. And he can't wait to hand out turkeys on Thanksgiving. He can't wait to go, host his own, charitable event to get out with kids or folks at, one of our, medical centers in town. Like, every time that I hear about us doing something, he's involved. I think he's really proud to be a Minnesota Viking. I think his journey is something that means a lot to him. Hopefully you'll get a chance to hear him talk about that today, and because it's a big moment for him, and not all of these things are the same, right? You've got first round picks that eventually get their massive extensions, but some guys don't get to come into this league with that type of path, and they've got to earn it from where they're selected and earn it from what their roles are early on in their time. And then eventually when you get to a place where you've developed this kind of value for a team, I think it's really awesome. And I think it's great for our team to see when you're at 91 guys in camp and the other 90 guys hear about this today. I think that's really cool for not only Josh, but our football team and the journeys ahead for all of our guys.
How quickly did you know that Flo would be able to use him the way that he has?
Let's see. Well, the first time I called him, I think he picked up on the second or third ring, so about then. No, all jokes aside, I remember vividly sitting down with Flo in the interview process, talking to him on the phone and things, and then bringing him here to our facility, and just him and I sitting in my office felt like hours just talking through our roster. And man, I've always loved this player, and I think he's versatile because of this, and being able to dynamically see roles maybe that weren't all over the tape because of the scheme either we played in 2022 or previously the years before that for some of our players. So I think he's got the ability to envision playing however we need to give ourselves the best chance to win, and allowing our players to have ownership of the versatility of our scheme is probably the most impressive thing. I was just joking with him, on any given snap, there's, Josh was one of the guys, they're commenting on splits, who's on, who's off. Hey, this guy was late to line up. Hey, this guy's light in his stance. I said, is anybody just going to play football? Because everybody out there was, but it's such high-level stuff that they're saying. As the head coach, I can tell them to shut up, but I try not to every now and again. But just that kind of dynamic is what I think. It's not just Flo and Durante and Swerve and the defensive staff. They've infused that into these players, and that's what's probably the best part of what we've been able to do here.
JJ, Kevin, how much work has to go into, because his arm is so strong and he throws that short pass so well, how much work has to go into, I don't know if it's telling him to or designing to let up on the fastball at times, because it looks like the ball sails in at times, and guys, it comes in almost too hot if that's possible.
No, especially when, a lot of you guys were here for the spring where, there was definitely some throws where the maximum RPMs probably weren't required, or in some cases, what I deem to be a little bit more valuable are the ones where there's a void, and there's a vacancy, but there might be a defender in front and a defender behind, and we've got to find a way to get that ball completed. Because that's probably the biggest difference between college football and the NFL, at least with a lot of the passing attacks that I'm familiar with, is the vertical, voids. Deep part of the field, underneath coverage, how do we occupy and then throw in behind, versus the wider hashes in college. A lot of times, you're throwing through open voids of, all the way through a target. So we got to try to create them. Luckily, our defense, the way they play and some of the things that they're not only doing, historically, but also some of the new things they're doing are forcing some of those throws. I don't know, you guys may or may not have noticed. I know we slowed down the tempo yesterday, but a lot of that was designed as well to, we're still getting the work, but I thought JJ threw the ball really well yesterday in it sounds crazy to say, a lower volume day. He's working on different trajectories. You're still seeing the revolutions on the ball, but not that heavy finish, more so that up and down two ball feel that we kind of talk about, and we condensed it down in the red zone to try to get that's the hardest place to do it, where you're trying to, ball might be on the 5-yard line and you take a drop in the gun, you've got 20 yards of real space, otherwise you're throwing the ball in the bleachers. So long answer, but I think we've got to try to create them, but then also manufacture different points in time to give him fundamental work at it. And I think Josh is doing a good job with that.
Last couple.
Just in terms of the cornerback group, as the physicality ramps up here, what do you want to see from those guys to stand out?
Yeah, I think you've already seen it, with Jeff Okudah, his, the power at which he, that boundary corner spot or whatever you want to call it, he can really, in a condensed space, make it hard on receivers. In fact, I think, the one turnover JJ's had and when that off the tip ball to Harrison, that was off of a hard reroute from Okudah, and then timing of the play got thrown off, and we were kind of off our footwork and the read progression were just totally thrown off because one guy jammed the primary target, and that was Jeff Okudah. So obviously I want to continue to see that, and less rules apply when you put the pads on to press coverage, quick jams, the techniques and fundamentals of that. I think Byron Murphy is, the way he's come back, the shape he's in right now, the versatility. We talk a lot about Josh, but if you think about Murph playing outside corner in the bigger groupings, immediately shifting inside, in those known passing downs to the nickel spot or in dime even matching up with a priority target. He's doing those things. And then I continue to say Isaiah Rodgers, to me, is a guy that, he's here for a reason, and he's already demonstrated why we really wanted to bring him here. Probably one of the faster players on our team, ultra consistent, confident, just never off balance, never panics. And I think that's going to bode really well when you pair that skill set outside with the way we can pressure the quarterback. And then I think there's a lot of depth there, a lot of competition between, Mackay's look good coming back. We've got some young players that are, really going through their first camp for the first time, and then Nudie coming back from last year. So that right there is the group. How that plays out is going to be, very fascinating for all of us to watch, I think, throughout the rest of camp.
Last one.
Kevin, with Donovan Jackson, what does he need to do in the next few weeks to kind of solidify that he's ready to play with the other veteran guys that you have there?
Great question. I think for Donovan, the perfect example would be day to day, right? So day one, there was a couple things. That was his first reps of full speed team. We jogged through in the spring, and there was a couple things. Coop hit him on, Keith hit him on. Talking to Ryan Kelly or even CD sitting next to him in meetings, and you show back up the next day and he immediately fixes those things, whether it's fundamental recognition, hand usage, which I thought was really cool to see, because that's what this position is all about inside. And then the other thing that carried over was his ability to react and sustain through downs, even when it wasn't perfect. I think that's what gets young players sometimes. Is it's not the plays that you do your job and you get commended for it. It's, hey, you do get beat quickly. Can you recover and not just make the total down a loss? And there was a play that hits my mind. Jonathan Allen, kind of got him off balance with a hump move that Jonathan's really good at as a strong three-technique rusher, and he was in less than ideal, base balance, body position to fight this legitimate rush off, and he was able to anchor down and survive the down for JJ to get the ball thrown. So that right there was, the types of things that I'm looking for and we're looking for as a staff. But once again, we haven't put the pads on yet, so we've got a lot to still see with our football team, not just Donovan.
Thank you, everyone.
Cool. Thank you.